Good morning and welcome to my latest project. This one is going to be called Dorie and Bob. This one is going to be Texas-sized fun. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we come right back. All right, one of the first things we got to do in making this sign, let me get down here, get it visible, okay. One of the first things we got to do is I got to cut this board down into usable lengths. And this sign that we're going to be making for Dorie and Bob is all going to be out of this cedar board. And we're going to laminate these pieces together when I get them cut out. We'll use these three pieces right here. And when we do that, we'll glue them together. We have one solid saw blank. So what I'm going to do is cut these to lengths right here, and then I'll get out a tapering jig. We'll trim the edges, and we'll show you what it's all going to do. So I'm going to start by just splitting the board right here. Now I've measured these off in 18-inch lengths right here. That's well more than what I need to do the project, but I want to have extra width base for when I'm using my router to have support for my router. So hang on, it's gonna get a little bit loud. Here we go. Love the smell of sawdust in the morning, especially cedar sawdust. Okay, so this sign that we're gonna be building for them is a Texas shaped sign. And it's going to be finishing 14 inches tall, 13 inches wide to be in proportion. And so overall, this board right now, the blanks, and still we got it down more, but this is not quite, this is about 17 3/4 tall. And like I say, we're about 18 inches wide. So we've got plenty of room to work with and to trim down. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up with my cross cut on my, my tapering jig. And what that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to take one nice, crisp, sharp, straight line on, and then after we get that one cut, we'll come back with my rip fencing line, and we'll cut these boards down to size, and I will have a nice square perpendicular edge to glue everything up, so we'll have a good square joint. So stick around, I'm going to change setups. I'll be right back. All right, this isn't the tapering jig that I built. What it does, the rip fence right here, I set the tapering jig inside the rip fence, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small little skim pass right across this edge right here. What that does is that trues up this cutting edge with the saw blade right there, and it makes sure that everything is smooth and cut, and this is going to be my marking point, and you'll see when I put the boards in what is going to happen here. So I'm going to do one more thing, and to do that, I removed my key so that I cannot start my saw. Hang on, I've got to go get a gauge out of my shop. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. What this is an angle gauge. So what I have to do is set it here, and I'll let it settle down, and it's reading it is 0.5 degrees tilted this way. So I'll just zero this out, and then what I'll do, I need to, again, because my key is out and I can't start my saw, so safety first, I'll raise this up, and then I'll just turn my gauge to it, and I want to make sure that this is reading 90 degrees, and I am reading 90.0. I wished I could show that to you, but it is 90.0. So I know this blade is perfectly perpendicular to this table saw's top. So we're good to go. So let me get things set back up, and we will make that first trim with the tapering jig. I don't need the saw blade that high. That's dangerous. So let me lower it back down. Okay, that's plenty good right there. put the key back in so we can start the saw. And here we go. Okay, keys out so I can work around with this. What that's done, that has trued up this leading edge right here with this saw blade and this rip fence. So I will not move this rip fence at all, and that's going to keep everything perfectly square. So my first job that I need to do, and let me make sure this is still in sequence, or yeah, it is, okay. All right, so first thing I want to do is I loosen all the knobs up so that I can lift everything up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring just enough to clear an edge, and I'm not worried about it specifically lined up or whatnot, because that's going to take care of itself in the next operation. So now I will tighten down these screws. Okay. All right. And then I take these hold down screws and I will tighten them down. Okay, all right, so now we have it locked in. So we'll put the key back in the saw. There it is. And then we'll check for blade height. We got to come up a little more. That's right there. Okay, so now, all right, so now we're ready to go. Here we go. This edge of the cedar is exactly flush with this edge of the tapering jig, and we have a nice, perfect perpendicular cut. So what we'll do next, we'll do the other two boards, and I'll do those off camera. And then when we come back, we'll take this side right here and we'll flush it up against the rip fence right here. And then that together is going to give us perfectly square boards. So hang on, I'll be right back. All right, now that we have the tapering jig out of the way, we'll lower the blade down about right there. And then we'll take this smooth edge that we cut right here, and we're going to run it against the rip fence. So I need to bring the rip fence up here just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to about 5 5/8 on the width. And now we'll run this through, and because we have a perfectly square edge, this will ride right up against the fence, and we'll have a perpendicularly and shaped board. So here we go. Let's see what that looks like here. I believe that's the way I want it to go right here. I think that's going to look pretty good. All right. So, because we've already got these about as square as we can get them, I'm not going to have any problem doing the glue up. So, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to set up my planer, and I'm going to run these boards through, because I can't run it. My planer only cuts 12 1/4 wide, and this is obviously, you know, better than what did we say it was going to be, about 17 inches. So I can't run that through my planer. So I'll run these boards individually I'll bring them all down and get them all to the same uniform thickness, which saves me a lot of time after I get the boards glued together. So stick around. I got to change setups completely, bring my planer out here, and we'll get this all done. So hang on, be right back. All right, as you can hear, I have a vacuum hooked up here, and we're going to start running the boards through. I decided to work inside instead of outside, so it's going to be very loud, so I'll put some music on for y'all. Here we go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and measure the thickness of these boards and see how close we are. That is measured 0.755. This is 0.759. That is 0.759. So we are within 0.004 of each other in thickness. So, you know, I can handle that. That's not bad at all. So the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to tear down all of the planer and get that out of the way. And then that piece of plywood you see behind you is going to be my little work table on top. And then we're going to go ahead and lay these out again, make sure I got them exactly how I want them. And then we're going to get them glued up. So stick around. We'll be right back. All right. For those of you who don't know me, I am a big believer in dry fitting. So what I've done is I pre-clamped all this up to make sure this is going to glue up the way I want it to. I'm very happy with the tight grains we have here, and that's because of the using the tapering jig and getting us a nice perfectly straight perpendicular angle. It makes glue up a whole lot easier. Now let me explain. The clamps are going to squeeze it in this way, and these boards right here, I have 2 above and 2 below. Those are called cauls, C-A-U-L-S. And obviously the clamps here squish them down, and that just helps keep them lined up and smooth in place. So we're going to go ahead and tear all this down, and then we're going to get after the gluing, and it'll go real quick. So I'm going to apologize right now because I'm going to have to be walking in front of the camera, and so I'm going to apologize right now. I know that's not cinematography etiquette, but I'm a woodworker. I'm not a cinematographer. So I apologize right off the bat. So we'll loosen all these up. All right. Back them off just a little bit. All right. And then I'm going to get me some paper towels and get ready to wipe down some squeeze out, because I want to see the glue squeeze out in between the boards when I get them on there. So here we go. So we're just going to start with right here. We just run some glue right across the top. That stands up. And I just use my fingers. So as you can see, I have a fancy dancy glue spreader. I just use a water bottle with a hole in the top of the lid to squeeze out my glue. That's all I need. I don't have to go crazy with one of those high dollar glue machines. And the air conditioner's kicking in, so I'm going to apologize. It's going to be hot in here, so I have to have my air conditioner on. So we'll put some more glue on right here. Everything's pretty good there. So now we'll go ahead and we'll just start with a snugging. going to go crazy tight on it just yet. Again, I'm sorry for the air conditioner kicking in. Okay. All right, so now we'll start with the cawls. Now the cawls have paper, packing tape on the sides that's going to be against the boards, and that makes it easier to take them off when everything's glued up and dried, which will be done. We'll leave this over in the glue overnight, so it will be tomorrow before we take them out of the cawls and out of the clamps. There we go. Get that down there like that. One of the hashes of working by yourself in your shop is working by yourself in your shop. You don't always have enough hands to do everything you want to get done, but that's all right. Okay, so now we'll come back and we'll squeeze these uniformly flat. And this clamp is not flat, so we're going to make it flat. There we go. That'll make it better. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so now we'll squeeze these down good and tight. All right, so those have got it sandwiched that away. So now we will come back and we will uniformly squeeze these up. And we want to see this squeeze out that you're seeing right here. We're going to have that squeeze out on both sides. So now I just want to go ahead and just wipe this off while it's in a liquid state. Okay. Yeah. All right. Need to get me another piece of paper towel and we'll flip this thing over and we'll clean the backside, because there will be squeeze out on the backside. So we'll stand this up, which is good. I love to see this squeeze out. That way I know I've got good glue joints. So, all right. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to let this sit in the clamps for 24 hours. Could I bring them out of the clamps sooner than that? Yes. The manufacturer says 2 to 4 hours. I don't want to take a chance. I like a good solid glue up, so I'll leave mine in the glue, in the clamps under glue for 24 hours. And is it overkill? Probably. But you know, I've never had a single one of my glue ups fail, so I'm going to keep doing what I know works for me. So this is going to be a wrap for video 1 of Dorie and Bob. And when we come back tomorrow, we will sand the board, clean it all up, and then we will actually start our layout. So I'll explain the layout tomorrow. So until our next segment, please hug all your family and friends. Let them know you love them. And God bless.